You're listening to Generation Jones, 1954 to 1964. Conversations with remarkable people who have shaped our world. I'm your host, Wendi Cooper, and I do hope you enjoy the show. On today's episode, I have in studio three wonderful, talented, lovely ladies. Their band is called Three Daughters Music. Ashely Chaney has been in love with music her whole life and is deeply moved by music from other generations. Her dad played for the Mamas and Papas, so her parents were key in giving her the inspiration for her soulful voice and sound. Shortly after winning Female Vocalist of the Year at the Los Angeles Music Awards, she became a mama to her now 2-year-old daughter. Ashely lives a busy life and a full life and is currently one of the 3 parts of Three Daughters Music. She teaches music, dance, and leads worship at the Journey of Faith Church in Manhattan Beach. In addition to authoring her blog, Unfiltered Life, her first book, Unfiltered Food, with a body-positive, transparent, and health-conscious message, Kate and Kacy Coppola make up the rest of the 3 daughters and are identical twins. Also heavily influenced by their parents' generation of music, they love Motown, rock and roll, and country music. Their career began early and led them to a songwriting deal with EMI Nashville and a record deal with Big Machine Records. They've toured with artists including Miranda Lambert, Little Big Town, and Kenny Chesney. Kate and Kacy are Grammy-nominated songwriters and have written for George Strait and Jamey Johnson. Their lives are joyfully bursting with 2 children, each 4 and 1.5 years old, and leading worship with Ashely. Kate and Kacy are also authors of the Daily Soul Sessions series, inspirational pregnancy and motherhood books. Those you can find on Amazon. And there's no better way to start this show than with this.
Whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is praiseworthy, it's making me brand new. This is my prayer. It's why I raise my hands in the air. This is my song and hope for the future. 'Cause I sing for joy and for pain. I sing it all in your name. I sing for love and for truth. I sing for you. I sing for you, Jesus. I sing for you, Jesus. Whatever is true, whatever is lovely, well, you are deserving and worthy of our praise. I sing for joy, for pain. I sing it all in your name. I sing for love, for truth. I sing for you. I sing for joy, for from singing, singing. No matter what I face, nothing can stop me from singing. Oh, I am a child of God, nothing can stop me from singing, singing. No matter what I face, nothing can stop me. All my days I sing for joy, for pain I sing it all. In your name I sing for love, for truth I sing for you. I sing for joy, for pain I sing it all. In your name I sing for love, for truth I sing for you. I sing for you, Jesus. I sing for you, Jesus. All my days I will love you, I will praise you. All my days I will love you, I will praise you. Oh, Jesus, I sing for you, Jesus.
Welcome, three daughters,
Thank you.
Ashely, Chaney,
Yes.
Kate and Kacy Coppola.
Yes.
It's so nice to have you here. And that song was just awesome. That's an original song written by the three of you.
Yes.
Right? And it is called I Sing For You.
Yes.
And it was inspired because you are a faith-based band.
Yes.
Right?
We
Which
are.
I know Ashely is you like lead the worship at the church or something like
Yes.
this,
So
right?
so do they.
That's
how
how
we
we met. The three of us are worship leaders at our church on our worship team at Journey of Faith in Manhattan Beach. And we've been singing together for a couple of years now, but not as a group, not as our Three Daughters music. That just happened very recently. So.
And very spontaneously.
I've known Ashely for, I think, 13 years now or something.
Yeah, pretty
Ash,
close.
Wow.
Right? And I've seen you go through so many transitions.
Yes. We could call them that.
Transition.
Yes.
And you are the daughter of, explain your background. I'm going to have, in a nutshell, you guys explain your background. I know Ashely's, but most listeners don't, and it's very interesting. So in a nutshell, you are the daughter
Yeah.
of
Well, I have two fathers. but-
Jonesers,
Yeah.
definite generation
I am-
Jonesers.
Yes, definitely Jonesers. Both musicians, and I grew up with one playing like James Taylor and all this cool music and coffee houses and stuff like that, and then the other was a drummer for the Mamas and the Papas. So I grew up with a ton of inspiration for that generation of music, and we didn't listen to anything top 40 in our house ever. It was always the good stuff.
Well, let's not be mistaken. During that time, or Generation Jonesers, we're forever young, but we did have a top 40. It was probably the Eagles and whomever,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, that's true. They were top 40 at the time, I guess.
Yeah, they just weren't pop. I don't think we were. I mean, pop is basically popular music. I always think of pop as modern music,
Right.
That's what I think of pop as. But it's popular music.
Yeah, that's
Right?
what it technically means.
So yeah, when you were growing up, Ashely, it was probably In Sync was pop music, but that wasn't being played in your house.
No.
It was the Eagles,
Right.
and yeah,
Right.
You know, the only pop music that was played in our house was Michael Jackson.
Yeah. Well, he's a total Joneser. You know.
timeless.
If you go on my website, generationjones.com, you'll see I list, Generation Jones is the most influential generation in decades. We're 50 million people. It's everybody born between 1954 and 1964.
Wow, that's amazing.
Think about that. So when you're 54 years old right now, you're not that old. I hate to tell you. You're not that old. And, you know, and so our cultural influences are very different. You know, we grew up with the Wonder Years,
Yeah.
right?
The music, everything you guys grew up through, incredible. Even to the wars that you guys grew up in and the music that came out of that.
And what wars...
The Vietnam War?
Kate, I didn't grow up during the Vietnam War. I was alive. Kacey, I was alive.
Yeah.
But
Right.
it didn't influence me.
Oh, it didn't?
And I'm 63.
Oh, wow.
No, it didn't.
You were too young?
I was too young.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's where the Generation Jones falls in, right?
Interesting.
Well, I was too young. My older brother and my older sister, maybe not so much. It influenced them. They had friends that went to Vietnam. My brother was subject to the draft. But no, I was like 13, 14, 15. I remember when it ended. And even then it was like, oh, the war's over.
Yeah. Outside of your reality.
Yeah, outside of anything that was really influencing me, right? So that's where that line is blurred, and that's kind of why I'm doing the show. It's like we are not those people,
Right.
But the music still that came out of that,
Yeah.
you listened to,
Well,
obviously.
the music that like war,
Yeah.
whatever.
Right.
We all yes. So I think we all listen. We all. Like, I was influenced throughout my life by the assassination of JFK,
Right.
of Martin Luther King. But so are you, because it's part of our history.
Yeah.
But not any more so than you're influenced by it, because it's just part of our history. It's what
Right.
we learn in school. And, you know, I remember coming home when my mother had found out that he was shot, JFK. But didn't. You know, I just remember her at the ironing board crying.
Wow.
That's what I remember. That
Didn't
was,
personally really shape you at that
I was
moment.
9.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
it's like it's like a 9-year-old today. Is Trump really shaping that 9-year-old? Probably. Let's not talk about that.
Moving on.
Wendy.
Yes. We have to move on. Okay, so I do have identical twins here, and I did claim that I can tell the difference, but obviously I can't.
Well, maybe we never actually said which name.
You can
goes
probably
with
tell the
which
difference.
face.
So, Kacey and Kate.
Yes.
Okay, so you are. How old is your mother and father?
They're a little older. They were born in 49 and 50. So,
Okay, so they are boomers.
yes.
And they, in your bio, you talk about they listen to a lot of Motown. Tell me the influences that you had as kids growing up in all different ways. You know, it's like, what's so different today from how you're maybe raising you both have kids. All
do.
3 of
All
you have
3 of us.
kids. You know, how your parents kind of raised you as to what you're really maybe doing today.
I mean, I do not remember a morning waking up on the weekends that there wasn't music being played.
No TV.
No TV, music. And it was also records. It wasn't, I mean, it was the radio sometimes, but it wasn't just like a Pandora station, you know? It was an actual record from beginning to end. And it was everything, I mean, we're Italian, so it was everything from Frank Sinatra, but it was a lot of Motown. My parents love that era, Motown and rock and roll, the Beatles, Rolling Stones, that kind of thing.
Well, yeah, that was all the same kind of stuff. But, you know, what do you listen to in your home now? What are your kids listening to?
Well, besides, the Frozen soundtrack.
Oh, that's right. They're really young.
They're all toddlers. But that is something we talk about a lot because it has gone to more of a Pandora-esque world where you're just getting music fed to you and you're just hearing song after song that you're not necessarily choosing to sit down and play. But we have a record player in our house. So my husband and I love to sit down and take a record, put it on, whether it's Mumford & Sons or, an old Frank Sinatra record or whatever it is, and listen to it from top to bottom because there are stories being told there. And that's something that I want to teach my children about, even if it's not necessarily where music business is going. I think there's a lot of value in that.
You know, okay, so I need to, because like I said, I've seen Ashely's many transitions. Now she's a mom. You have a 2-year-old beautiful daughter with your eyes, not Mark's, by the way. They're your eyes.
Yes.
And tell me a little bit, Ashely, about, you're always gung-ho in your career. I mean, in your entertainment career, and you're singing, you're dancing, you're teaching, you're all of that stuff. And now as a mom, it's like, oy vey. Sorry, I say
Yes.
oy vey.
Yeah.
It's true. Well, there was a big. I'd come on your shows before with Ashely Krauss music, and I don't know, I had all these grand plans and I got pregnant. We were like, oh, we'll just record the album while I'm pregnant. As soon as we have her, you know, we'll tour, blah. Of course, none of that happened. And it was like over the last couple of years, I kind of like mourned the death of Ashely Krauss music a little bit and kind of lost my identity. But there was always worship. That was always there. And Zaya, our daughter, became part of just the daily worship, the weekly thing. She's at rehearsals, she's at sound check, she's at all this stuff. And in those 2 years, Kate and Kacey joined the church and started singing and leading on the worship team as well. And we all kind of were like, you know, they're coming, I'm sure you're reading their bio, like they're coming from this massive music experience as well. Now we all have kids and we're all moms and we're not writing music anymore. And there's this huge lull in that like momentum of we know what we're doing, what songs we're writing, an album, we already got this plan and that plan, and it was all just kind of gone. Mm-hmm. And so when we got together, we just started writing, it was organic, and all of a sudden this thing just happened, and we were like, we found our purpose again. Mm-hmm. We can write again. Music is a part of our lives again, but in a joyful way that our kids can be a part of, and we're setting an example for them that women who have children who raise families don't have to give up on their dreams. They can still do what they want to do.
Yeah, it's pretty funny because if you follow Ashely on Facebook or anywhere, you'll see as her daughter grew up, all of a sudden she's like, got a guitar, and she's got the microphone, she's up on the stage. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's hysterical.
It's great. I've always been in awe of Ashely. She literally has taken Zaya and just does her life, like doesn't let it hold her back. You know, Zaya's all the time with her everywhere, which is wonderful.
All the time.
I didn't quite do that with my kids. Yeah.
Except for right now.
Right? She's not here, actually.
Yeah, of course.
And we miss her.
Well, we're going to go get lunch, right?
Yeah.
So what do you guys think are the, I had on a couple of episodes ago, I had on Stuart Smith and Joretta of Heaven and Earth. They're a classic rock band. They've been around forever. They're awesome. You should listen to that episode. And Stuart talked a lot about the challenges of the music business, even for these guys who have been, you know, Stuart wasn't Sweet, Joe's, anyway, Stuart was in way more than Sweet, but, you know, he's best friends with Steven Tyler, blah, blah, blah. But even everyone in classic rock that is over 50 and still extremely talented, still performing, obviously they're performing, making records, making, you know, original music, they're just not going anywhere because of the state of the music business. So for young women on the go, I mean, you guys know how to use social media to your benefit. Mm-hmm. Now, Stuart and Joe, after being on my show, they are now doing weekly posts of songs that they're performing from their living room, right? But it's still a tough road.
It's a very tough road, and I think because the industry has changed so much, especially from people like that who, you know, you just got on the road, you started touring, and people came to see you play, and the radio would pick up a song and play it. It's impossible to get on the radio these days without a massive PR team behind you coming from a massive record label. Mm-hmm. So you got to find other routes and other ways to get your music out there, and that's where social media is a huge blessing for artists who don't have a power machine behind them, because you can reach millions of people if you find the right avenue and the right thing to say and the right hashtags to put on it. Honestly, we got a gig last week because of a hashtag we had put on an Instagram post.
Mm-hmm. Actually, weren't you telling me, can we talk about that? Garage sessions? Were you doing something with them?
Well, when we originally got together and we started writing, we were like, oh, well, hey, we're pretty good at this writing thing together. We should probably just like put some music out. How do we do that? And Casey's husband was putting together the studio because he's a host, an event host. He's all over the place. He's amazing. And well, you can tell it.
Yeah. Well, he is now an executive producer of a TV show, and he needs a studio in our house, basically. And so the only spot we had available was in our garage. But it's set up, it's great. And I was like, guys, we can call it the Garage Sessions. And
done.
That's how it started. Yeah. But it started in my living room because the studio wasn't ready in the garage. But we still called it the Garage Sessions.
So, but wasn't there somebody that found you on Instagram that is the is that what we're talking about? No. I spaced out because I was like going, the garage session thing.
Yeah, so the garage sessions is just what we originally called our music that we were putting out
Right.
there. And then, but other people have found us, like a Christian movie coming out, the producer of that has found us through our garage sessions Instagram and hired us to write a song for this movie coming
wow.
out. And then other things, we've gotten a couple of gigs through it and all of that. So social media really is working.
So your first Instagram name was Garage Sessions.
Yes.
Okay, and then you changed it to Three Daughters.
Correct.
Yes.
Because
Three Daughters Music, by the way, not just Three Daughters.
Three Daughters Music. As we were starting to perform out, it was we needed a name, a better name than just, and here's the garage session.
That's true.
Yeah.
That does kind of suck.
Right? As a band name, it's terrible. It's just terrible. We could name an album the Garage Sessions.
You know, it's like, what's your tagline?
Yeah.
It's
The
it's
garage
like-
sessions. We were like affirming our future success of like, and song of the year goes to
Garage
garage sessions.
We like coming out of the crypt. I don't know.
It wasn't working.
That's so funny. I'm in branding and marketing, right?
Right.
That's what I do for a living. So I write, produce, direct television commercials, and Ashely knows she has helped me in several of them. And I also am a branding kind of expert. So it's like the first thing when you hear a name, how many times I say to you, okay, Ashely, well, if you're going to use that name, what's going to be the tagline? And then what are you going to say from there? Because it's your whole brand message. How do you build off of your name?
This is good for me to hear.
So you're building off of your Three Daughters name.
Yeah.
That's why I said, you know what? It's okay to have you on the show, even though we're targeting Generation Jones. You know, it's your daughters are probably Jonesers.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, so take it and spin it. But always, when people out there, when you're thinking of a name for a product, service, business, band, whatever it might be, always think of what is your tagline going to be.
Yes.
Then that leverages you into your brand story, right? It all has to fit.
Yeah.
And that's where your Three Daughters music is pretty awesome because you should come up with a cool little tagline that then defines you.
Yeah, our mission statement.
Well,
Shorter than that,
a
yeah.
tagline, yeah. You know, like Nike, just do it. That's their tagline, and
Right.
that lifts them into all sorts of things. Because do what? You know, do this, just do this, just do this, just do that. You know, there's a real structure behind thinking of those two words.
Right. Right.
Well, it's interesting with your Generation Jones because and you started talking about social media. We're in a similar situation where we're not millennials and we're not Gen Xers.
Right.
We're right in between, and like we're lucky enough to know how like we were what's the word, analog. You know, growing up in high school, and then just as high school hit, we started getting, you know, some technology, some cell phones, stuff like that.
What year did you go to high school?
I graduated in 2001. Same. Yeah, we're all 35.
Okay.
And so we're like,
That's true because the internet just started like in 1999 was like
dial-up,
I,
baby.
mean, I remember
was
getting
still
our
dial-up.
first computer in our house.
I remember typing papers on a typewriter and then eventually on a computer.
Yeah.
And then we went to college and it just exploded. I mean, it was such a massive.
Facebook began while we were in college.
Yeah.
It was a college thing while we were in college. So it's, you know, and now it's,
So
everywhere.
we've learned social media, but you know, the generation right underneath us, they like
live it.
they were born knowing how to do all of it. Like they just know which
Right,
accounts
so
are
you're
hip
saying
and what to do. So we're like,
what
right
is
there.
so you're saying that you're stuck in hell. No.
we remember the good old days.
Yes. No, we're lucky that we're right on like the end of this generation where social media is still something that is natural to us, and we're able to
Okay,
use
so
it.
I'm going to tell you what the difference is. Okay, so a true millennial, because you're not you're on the far end of millennialism, right? So and just the cusp of Gen X. A true millennial, and I know you, Ashely, so I know how hard you work. And I'm feel the same way about you and my son Wyatt, who's 35, 36, 37. But millennials, sorry, Ari, if you're a millennial, they look at you and they say, this is my experience, and everybody will agree, oh, we already know how to do everything. You don't know how to do anything, so don't even try to tell me how to do something. And if you work with them, they kind of look at you like, just tell me what you want me to do, and I'll do it. I'm right here.
Yeah.
You know, there's no passion for perseverance or, you know, going the extra mile. It's like, really, dude, I'm here. You know, I've had editors that have told me, just basically tell me what buttons to push and I'll push them.
So then you're doing the job for them.
Well, but they think that's okay. They
Yeah.
think that that's the way it's supposed to be. You know, especially if they start to work with someone who is older. You know, they kind of look at you like you're crawling out of the crypt. You know, who let you out this morning?
Out of the garage sessions.
You don't know anything. How could you know anything? Look at you. You have wrinkles.
Wow.
Well, that's the problem is I do know a lot.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And you need to open your minds and listen.
They've grown up with computers to do everything for them since they could speak, you know? So it's like they haven't had to go figure it out because everything's just figured out for them, which is
Okay, so Kacey,
yes.
let me ask all three of you this question. What are you doing different with your children so that they're not influenced by so much digital stuff, right? Because when I walk down the street, and we got a lot of people in our neighborhoods that Ashely knows walk with baby carriages, a lot of millennials now. Everybody's got a baby because you're supposed to have one. And those babies are carrying and watching the cell phone.
Yeah.
As they're being walked. Instead of looking at the trees or talking to mommy, they're watching their cartoons on a cell phone. Do you guys do that?
No.
Not that.
Not
but
that.
it is a fine line because I do use, you know, my iPhones and iPads with kids at restaurants. You know, I talk to women that are older than me and they're saying, I didn't have an iPad at a restaurant. We had to draw on a piece of paper to keep them entertained. Or they say we didn't go anywhere because it's hard to take kids to restaurants.
We went places without
well,
an
but like
iPhone.
when they were young. But yeah.
And when they were young.
So I don't know. I mean, it's a very fine, difficult line, and we all three try really hard to not just shove a phone in front of our children. But it is a tool that is used these days, so it's something I
Well,
think we're learning as we go.
Yeah, that's the interesting thing. Like, so you used to draw on paper instead of on an iPad, but nowadays they don't draw on paper in school. They're given iPads in school, and that's how they use. And everything's down. All of their curriculum is downloaded, and they submit it via online. So it is interesting that that's all changed. But yes, being cautious of.
But not when they're in elementary school. Are they doing that in elementary schools?
Elementary school.
Yes.
In some schools, yeah.
Some.
You know, so as a parent, though, isn't there... I take this attitude that the problem with kids today is that they're not really understanding the fundamentals of why it is they do what they do, why it is that they draw on that iPad, because they can draw with a pencil and a crayon, and hey, isn't this awesome that by the time I get to be 6, 7, 8 years old, I'm drawing on an iPad. But they're learning to draw with pencils or with crayons
Yeah.
and
Yes.
chalk
Definitely.
and things like that, right?
I think there's
So-
a fine line. There are parents that use it as a quote unquote babysitter versus actually entertaining their child or working with their child or doing things. And I think that I know the three of us for certain we use music and activities like that to influence our kids and in a positive developmental way.
And entertain our kids.
I think it's wonderful what the three of you do because you're all mothers, you're daughters,
Yes.
and you're friends.
Yes.
And Ashely, I admire how you take Zaya with you everywhere. I think I think every parent should try to do that as much as they can because she has the influences in watching her mom on a stage and sing and dance and you know, she's going to have such a full body of knowledge and, you know, because you're going to probably continue unless she turns into a teenager. That's the wrath of hell.
Right? We've got years before then.
Zaya's going to be going, I'm going to Aunt Wendy's house.
Yeah, I know.
Because I don't want to go to that place with you anymore,
I'm
Mom.
sick of rehearsal.
Yes.
No, I mean, yeah, it's incredible. I mean, we are our kids' first and long-lasting teachers. So we've always said that since we became moms, and our oldest kids are 4 now. So we're still newbies at it. Yeah. But you can already see them soaking everything in, everything that we're doing, you know, and we don't want it to just be, you know, dad goes to work, and I think being a stay-at-home mom is the best job in the world, but I also think it's one of the hardest jobs in the world, and I love being able to follow my dreams and show my daughters that they can do anything they want and still raise strong, amazing kids while doing it.
So you have you have comfort in knowing that, you know, because 35 is on the age scale.
Yeah, it is.
Ladies.
You're telling us.
Wait, what?
Try to be 63. Just try it. Okay, just for one day.
Give me 30 years.
One day. But and this will be my last question in this segment. But the challenge that lies ahead, where is it? Let's say in 1 year, what are you envisioning on your vision board? Right? Where do you want to be? And what would a dream come true for the three of you be?
Well, we do lead worship at Journey of Faith, but we are writing Christian music and inspirational music in the category of faith, and we are Christ-centered with the way that we write. And so being able to lead at conferences and other churches, almost like a tour, but not a tour, that's something that we are aspiring to do, and making the connections to do that. So we can share our music, but also just become more well-versed with leading worship for different types of people. We're in Manhattan Beach at a church where it's very affluent, and that's where we are. And we'd really love to be able to be a part of the bigger body of the church and go out there and have more experiences. You guys have to go on YouTube. Yes, Ari, I'm going to talk about the Rosh Hashanah on Christian Broadcasting Network. I couldn't go to temple. I'm Jewish. I could not go to temple. And I looked on YouTube, and I found Christian Broadcasting was doing a live Rosh Hashanah event. Christian Broadcasting Network. Wow. It was the most beautiful. That's awesome.
Beautiful service I've ever seen. You have to look at it. The dancers, the performances, the singers. You have to go there and see that. It was a spectacle. It just touched my heart. It was so cool.
That's really neat.
And that's the power of music and creativity, and that's what we love too, to reach, especially kind of people in our who we are right now, moms, women. It's such an interesting time for women right now, and for moms too. And there's, we get to say what our future is. We get to say what being a mom looks like, and we love singing songs of hope and inspiration for women out there too, and hopefully bring them to a place where they feel confident in themselves to go after their own dreams as well. So
yeah, because I think at this age with young kids, a lot of women lose their own sense of self and who they are as a woman. They get stuck behind that mother label or that wife label. And so we love just going out there and singing for mom groups or these big women's conventions and giving them just that little bit of inspiration that's like, oh, I'm still creative. I can still write that book I want to write. I can still pick up those paints, or I can go dancing. I can do these things still, even when I felt for a while that I don't have that freedom. And that's our goal, is just to give people that little bit of spark to just go out there and do what their heart is calling them to do.
Well, you're an inspiration to me. I have to admit that this is a new show for me, and I took a 2-year break, and I went into a funk. And I really wanted to create a show that I could share wisdom. And I struggled with that for a whole year, literally driving back and forth to Burbank every day to my job. I just was miserable thinking, okay, please tell me what my next topic is going to be for the show that basically, at my age, I really wanted to be able to talk about, embrace my age, not run from it, not hide from it, not be embarrassed by it. But then I have so much wisdom because I've done so many things in my life, and I wanted to be able to share that, and then the wisdom of other people. And on that very fateful day of watching Rosh Hashanah on Christian Broadcasting is when I got the message to do awesome. Generation Jones, basically.
That's amazing.
Yeah, kind of cool, huh?
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Yes.
So anyway, we're going to take a quick break, and we will be right back with Kate, Kacey, and Ashely, 3 Daughters Music. You're listening to Generation Jones, 1954 to 1964. Conversations with remarkable people who shaped our world. Make sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Today I have in studio a remarkable band of 3 extraordinary young women who are in their mid to early 30s and probably are struggling with the same challenges that we as Generation Jones struggle with in our age group, finding and reinventing ourselves in different ways. It's a fascinating subject today as we talk about motherhood, music, and how they are using social media in such a different way as mothers and professionals trying to break into the music industry. So I hope you enjoy the rest of the show.
I never felt so all alone, sitting here filled with fear, out of control. A million people all around, still I don't know a soul to save me now. Help me find a way to give you all of me, so I will live my life for you. Take this pain and pull me through. Spirit, come alive in me. I feel your love overflowing. I will live my life. I will live for you. No, there's nothing I could do. No power of hell could separate me from you. God, you promised you would come to give us grace, to give us hope, to give us love. God, you gave it all when Jesus paid it all, so I will live my life for you. Take this pain and pull me through. Spirit, come alive in me. I feel your love overflowing. I will live my life. I will live for you. Spirit, come alive in me. I feel your love overflowing. I will live my life. I will live for. I will live my life. I will live for. I will live my life. I will live for you. I will live for you.
Okay, ladies, it just can't get any better than that.
Thank you.
That's very nice, Wendi.
So welcome back. You're listening to Generation Jones, and I am here with Ashely Krause, Chaney, Caitlin and Kacy Coppola, and they are, that was an original song,
Yes.
Yes.
and you are a, I want to say traveling band, but that's not the words.
travel to preschool
And we travel here to Hollywood.
First Generation Jones taping.
Actually, you are three mothers, three daughters, and I like to say three daughters of Jonesers, although your mother and father, both of you. I think, Ashely, I think your dad is probably not a Joneser, but a boomer. One of your dads. One of two of them.
Just a couple years older.
Literally just a couple. Like my mom was born in 52, so she just missed it by 2 years.
Yeah. Yeah, that's when my sister was born. And my sister totally has a completely different mindset than I do.
Does she really? That's so fascinating.
Yeah.
This podcast is so fascinating. It's amazing.
Yeah, she really does.
Yeah.
Well, just like you guys were talking about earlier, that you're kind of on that cusp of Gen X and millennial. And, I wonder in 20 years what they're going to be calling your generation.
That is going to be.
I think they've already tried to call us Xennials or something like that. They're trying. There's like this small group.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
That we're fitting
Xennials.
into.
I like
you're
that.
in between X and
And we had both experiences of that analog and digital, which is very interesting.
It makes us better than everyone else.
Okay, no, Ashely, talk about your unfiltered life.
Unfiltered life. So I started writing, when I got pregnant, back up. So I was a professional dancer growing up. I always had this like fit, tight little body and dancer body. And
Broadway dancer, by the way.
So when I got pregnant, it was really hard for me. I didn't realize how much I had some major food issues and body image issues and stuff like that, how I really let it shape my identity. This fear of gaining weight and not being who I always was. And I mean, my rational brain understood completely that it was irrational. Like, you get pregnant, you can work out afterwards, it's fine, But it was really damaging and really eye-opening to me. So I started writing a book. It's called Unfiltered Food, and it should be out early 2019. And I'm like, well, how do I talk to people and be completely transparent about, because I know I'm not the only one that feels this way, that has these body image issues, these comparative thinking issues, these self-confidence issues, when I might be outwardly this seemingly
on
confident.
Instagram.
Yeah.
Everything's perfect.
Right. Yes, this Instagram life. And I'm sick and tired of it. Yeah. So Unfiltered Life showed up because I was like, what about like pictures with all these filters? And then Unfiltered popped up. And ironically, Wendi had a show called Life Unfiltered that I Living Unfiltered. And I was like, see, great mind. Even though I already knew that her show existed a long time ago. But I didn't even think about it until she was like, do you need... Anyway. So Unfiltered Life showed up, and I needed a place to write and vent about this so that it was basically my own personal therapy. It was very therapeutic writing this book, and then being able to just have kind of like the sheet lifted and see the world from a different perspective of like, okay, it's all right that I'm screwed up and that I'm a little psycho sometimes, but if I'm aware of it and I know that my rational brain is aware of it, then I can reel it back in, and then also help others to realize that nobody is perfect. We all have these comparative issues, and those women that you're comparing yourself to are probably thinking the same exact way that you are.
Well, that's the only reason that they're posting that stuff on Instagram. I mean, it's a necessity. Yeah. Okay, from a marketing perspective, it is a necessity. Yes, it does give more and more people voices to be heard. Podcasting has actually exploded in the past couple of years in the same way because people are able to have their voice heard, their opinions, and things like that. So Instagram and podcasting, I think, are kind of like go in a weird way hand in hand. But the pressures that you felt were they real? Are they real? Are they fake? Because social media is putting, let's call it fake. Fake pressures. Well, filters on everything, but fake pressure to be, to be better than the next person, to keep up with, I hate to use the term, the Joneses, right? And that is such a, you either don't buy into it at all, You don't buy into it all. You focus on it. Chance, for instance, my son, 27, artist, he doesn't have a Facebook page. He only has an Instagram, and he rarely posts anything personal on Instagram, right? He focuses and hones it in. And he's a true millennial, so he's 27, right? And he rarely only uses email when necessary. But yet there's this... he kind of knows how to shut it off. But maybe when we're in our 30s, we feel as though we have to. You know what I'm trying to say is like,
It becomes an addiction that you don't even realize you're addicted to it. And
to
it's
say,
unhealthy.
especially because we are women in our 30s, mid-30s mothers, and a lot of the women we surround ourselves are mid-30s mothers. It's a lonely time in your life, too, because you're at home with your kids. It's all right there in this little world. So you're looking to social media to find your tribe because everybody needs to raise their kids in a village. You need more people around you to help. But it's this fake village. It's this Instagram village that doesn't really exist and that isn't real. And so, I mean, to transition, that's kind of where we wrote our book for. So.
You guys wrote a book?
Yes. No worries. No worries.
Well, let's talk about that.
So Kacey and I, similarly to Ashely, we got pregnant at the exact same time with our first babies because identical twins do that, I guess. And pregnancy was a really hard time for us because we had wrapped up a lot of our identity in, music and touring and traveling, and all of a sudden all of that stopped. So I was really searching, I'm Kate, and I was really searching for something inspirational to read every day while I was pregnant, and not just your baby's the size of a lentil today. I needed something soulful.
It looks like a lentil.
Exactly. Yeah. I needed something that spoke to me as the woman behind the pregnant woman, inside the pregnant woman.
Yeah, and I had stopped writing music at that point. I just wasn't inspired to write anymore. But I continued my daily journaling because I feel like that's really important to get the cobwebs out and to get to the creative thoughts. And it kind of turned into these little mini daily soul sessions that I started writing. And when Kate said she was looking for a book, I just started sending her my daily writings. And she immediately wrote back and said, this is a book, and we have to finish it now. And so we did.
We wrote the Daily Soul Sessions for the Pregnant Mama, and it's 280 soul sessions, 10 months worth of daily inspirations for pregnant women for every day of your pregnancy. We actually wrote it with our older sister. She lives in Denver, Colorado, where we grew up, and the three of us wrote it together.
And where can people get that?
So you can get that on Amazon, the Daily Soul Sessions for the Pregnant Mama. And then our second book came out a year ago, and it's the Daily Soul Sessions for Every Mama, and it's 365 sessions. So it's a calendar year of daily short, for us busy moms, short inspirations to just get your day started right, get your head space right, stay positive, because it's all about mindset. So any tricks we can get.
Ashely, is Unfiltered Life available to buy, or you're still working on it?
No, the blog, you can go to unfilteredlife.net, but Unfiltered Food, the book, is not available yet, but it will be available early 2019. So if you go to the blog and subscribe to it, you can follow along and you'll get updates and you'll be the first to know and the first to be able to pre-order.
I was wondering, I thought that maybe you guys should do a Kickstarter campaign or a GoFundMe campaign in order to raise the funds that you need to do what you want to do, because what you're doing is such an awesome thing and you need to do that. So can we talk just a little bit about why the heck you're not doing it?
Best
or are
idea
you?
Brilliant,
ever.
Wendi.
It's a great idea, and we're following your advice. And we do have intentions and plans, and we're currently working on our video and the message so that we can explain to everybody what it is exactly we're doing and why we need your support and your help and why we want you to be involved, and we will be launching a GoFundMe campaign.
Okay, but wait 1 second. This is your opportunity to talk about it now.
Well, it's
Talk
so
about it
funny
now.
because so many GoFundMes and Kickstarters, are sad stories that they're trying to, bring awareness to. And our story is not sad. We all come from different backgrounds and paths that brought us here, and maybe parts of our stories are sad and dreams that have ended, but new dreams have come from it, and that is a story of inspiration and hope, and that's the story we want to share with as many people as we can.
And you want to share that through, now remember, I do advertising and marketing, so
we want to make an album.
You want to make it, thank you, that's why
We want to share.
We're getting there. I'm getting there.
We want to share our message of hope and inspiration through music. So we want to make a record. We want to make an album, go into the studio and record our original songs, and then start touring with those original songs. So you need money to do that.
You need a lot of money to do that. Okay, now.
And
let
we
me
need
ask,
about 4 nannies.
that's included in the money.
It is.
So if you're going to do a GoFundMe or a Kickstarter campaign, which for me, it doesn't matter which one you do, but I would do a GoFundMe.
That's what we were
planning.
And how much money do you think you need to raise? Now, I know what Stuart told me a couple of weeks ago on if you want to go on tour, if you want to get booked, IEG, Live Nation, all of this stuff costs lots of money because you do have to pay for your own way if you are like an opening act or whatever. That's why you should listen to the episode. It was really, really interesting. But how much money do you need to raise? And don't be shy.
I know, right?
So that's a very good question. We've started with the record because we have a studio we're going to record at, and we have all of our players in place.
And don't forget your marketing
Right.
budget for that record.
Which is what we should pick your brain about.
Yes, we'll be continuing this conversation.
Right. So off the top of our head for the record, we wanted what, 20, 30?
Yeah, 20.
20 grand, $20,000.
Okay.
But then we need more for, I mean, I think we need to probably up that if
Yes.
we're thinking
Well,
about all the other
Marketing, touring.
Yeah, yeah. So were you planning on doing like GoFundMe step 1, GoFundMe step 2, step 3?
We kind of take it a step at a time. And really nothing can happen until we record music. So, but maybe.
Well, all a GoFundMe campaign is, all a Kickstarter campaign is, it's a pre-sale of your product.
Right.
Okay, so listen up, people. It's a pre-sale of your product. So what you're doing is you're saying, hey, support us in what we want to bring to the world and give me, we want to bring this album to the world. Where that album takes you is something different. So how much will somebody donate for your cause, for your personal cause as a band, right? And then to receive in return an album.
Yes.
Right? Okay, so you have to value that album. Now that album can range, people can donate $500 or they can donate $20, right? But that's your product, and it's really just a way to pre-sell your product because that's what the customer supporter is doing. Then if you also have it cause-based, right? You want to go out on the road in order so that your album and your awareness and all of that can raise money for a cause, correct? So that's awesome because cause-based things do really well.
Yeah.
So it's really, and then you want to have enough money so that people just don't get an album, but you get famous. You get your dreams to, not famous, but famous, where you're in demand and you're going out and there's a reason. So to say we want to raise $20,000, that's not going to get you there. It's going to get you an album.
Yeah.
That's it. Right? It needs, you have a book. You put it on Amazon. I sell on Amazon because I have a toilet stool company. And I know what it costs. I know what they take. Right? So think about that, how difficult it is to break into the music business now and go for the gusto. Why are you going for $20,000? It makes you look like chopped liver.
What would you
Preach.
tell us to
Preach,
put up there,
Wendi.
Wendy?
Well, GoFundMe works like you get whatever people donate.
Right.
Anyway, but people, if you see that people want your album and they're donating because they're going to get an album, you're not going to give them an album if you don't reach over $20,000.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So I would, $20,000 seems so cheap to do an album. I would go for $150,000. It's the World Wide Web. See how I fit that expression into the show?
Yes.
It is, and it goes out everywhere in the world. Your audience is huge. Now, I also told Ashely before that you should start talking all the time about your GoFundMe campaign that is coming up. Start spreading the word. Talk about it when you do your videos.
Right.
You have to. That's the momentum. That's a mistake people make. They just put it up and they think everybody's going to come.
Yeah.
Everybody's going to come, right? Talk about it. We're working on our GoFundMe campaign. This is a song that we are going to include on our album that we are doing on a GoFundMe campaign.
Yes.
If you want to be part of what we're doing, we love you. All of that. Work that into your Three
Daily
Daughters
conversation.
branding and daily conversation.
I love everything about this. How much do you charge an hour?
No, that's very encouraging and inspiring. And you know what? It probably does lead to where a lot of women are in their lives right now, where they don't want to ask for too much, or they don't want to seem too pushy or too greedy or whatever it is.
If you don't ask for enough,
And
you have nothing to give in return because you haven't asked
Got
for
enough.
enough.
And
Or we
I
have
think
we have
it's-
the album, but that's it.
But I think those words are super inspiring to our
Value.
audience and give yourself value
Yeah.
Yes.
because you are valuable.
Yes.
And I think people struggle with that.
And stop setting a low bar for your value.
Yeah.
You know, it's like if you give a dog away, that person who gets that dog is not going to value him. If you make someone pay for the dog,
Right.
they will always value that animal.
You know, it's interesting. I had, I don't know if you call it a vision or a dream, but the number 128,000 always popped into my head.
128.
128.
Oh, great.
I don't know why.
Okay, so then that's what it is. It's 128, but I would run the numbers, and I would definitely run the numbers on what it's going to cost for marketing, what it's going to cost for advertising, what it's going to cost for inventory, what it's going to cost to do LPs, to do right? Your artwork, your all of that stuff. It's very expensive, and you want to do it right, and you want to do right by the people who are donating to you. They want to have something really awesome, and they're supporting you in that.
Can I just say one thing about
Absolutely.
what happened today in Pittsburgh?
Oh, yeah, thank you.
I just want to mention, you know, as we're singing songs of hope and inspiration, and we're going to end with Amazing Grace, there was a shooting at a synagogue in Pittsburgh today, and it's just devastating to see this stuff constantly, which is another social media thing. We're inundated with sadness all the time.
Yes.
And so we just want to say that our prayers are with you, and we're going to dedicate this song to you. And yeah, I don't actually have any more words.
Thank
than
you,
that.
Kacey.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. Was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see.
I always cry when I hear that song. I mean, I do. I just want to thank you guys for being here. It was really, really beautiful and really awesome. And I wish you all the best. I'll do anything I can do to help you.
Thank you for
Thank you,
having us.
Wendy.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
I'd like to thank Tom at Orsi Digital Media for his support of the show and his wonderful sound design. I'd also like to thank Skylar Billish for his original score that I adore. Make sure to subscribe everywhere you get your podcasts and listen at 7:30 a.m. on Monday mornings on UBN Radio. Thanks for listening.